If you're thinking the AirPods Pro 3 hearing aid feature can solve your hearing difficulties, you need to watch this video. Hey guys, Cliff Olson, Doctor of Audiology and founder of Applied Hearing Solutions in Phoenix, Arizona, and in this video, I'm doing a detailed review of the new Apple AirPods Pro 3 clinical grade hearing aid feature. At this point, Apple has been trying their hardest to break into the hearing aid market for the past 6 years now. Their first attempt came in October of 2019, where they introduced transparency mode with active noise cancellation inside of their original AirPods Pro earbuds. This feature essentially allows you to amplify sounds around you instead of just streaming audio from your iPhone into your earbuds without technically calling them hearing aids. In 2022, they improved their transparency mode feature and their active noise cancellation inside of the AirPods Pro 2. In October of 2024, iOS 18.1 was released, which gave the AirPods Pro 2 a new hearing test feature and officially turned them into clinical grade over-the-counter hearing aids. This iOS update also gave the AirPods Pro 2 a hearing protection feature. Then in September of 2025, Apple released the new hardware of the AirPods Pro 3 that used the same clinical grade hearing aid feature and hearing protection feature that they already had inside of the AirPods Pro 2. Now, if you're interested in the hearing protection feature of the AirPods Pro 3, I do have a detailed tutorial video to show you how to set that up, as well as a review video that you can watch, and I'll link both of those videos down in the description. However, in this video, I am 100% focused on the review of the AirPods Pro 3 hearing aid feature. While the AirPods Pro 2 and Pro 3 use the same exact hearing aid feature, there are hardware and performance differences between them. But before I get into this detailed review, guys, do me a huge favor, click the like button. It really helps out the channel. And if you are not yet subscribed to the channel with notifications turned on, go ahead and do that as well. It's greatly appreciated. And let me know if you've ever tried the AirPods Pro 3 hearing aid feature and how you did down in the comment section. Now, if you're already committed to trying the AirPods Pro 3 and you don't want to hear my detailed review of the performance of these particular devices and you just want to learn how to set them up as hearing aids, I do have a detailed tutorial video of setting up the hearing aid feature down in the description as well. First, let's review some of the basics, starting with who these are actually intended for. Technically, all over-the-counter hearing aids like the AirPods Pro 3 are intended for adults with perceived mild to moderate hearing loss, which is within this range of the audiogram. Now, if you're a parent, please do not try and treat your child's hearing loss with the AirPods Pro 3. I know that your intentions are probably pretty good, but at the end of the day, that is probably borderline child neglect. And if you're an adult with worse than mild to moderate hearing loss, these devices definitely are not going to work very well for you. All right, let's talk about price. So the AirPods Pro 3 are probably the lowest cost legitimate over-the-counter hearing aid out on the market right now at $249 for a pair. Other available over-the-counter hearing aids at this price point are basically just glorified amplifiers, and some of them may actually make your hearing worse while you're wearing them. The Pro 3s are quite clearly rechargeable, and the case that they come in stores some extra charges, so if you're out and about, you don't have to worry about running out of battery. And the charging port that it uses is a USB-C, very universal, so if you forget your charging cable at home, you can use another charging cable when you're out as well. Now, this is one area of improvement of the Pro 3s over the Pro 2s, which is the battery life. The older Pro 2s would get you up to 6 hours of battery life on a single charge, but now the Pro 3s get you up to 10 hours of battery life when you're using that hearing aid feature. I am personally able to get up to 9 hours of battery life when I'm in hearing aid mode all day long, but this number does come down a bit when I tend to stream from these, which I like to do a lot. When you consider that the average hearing aid user wears their hearing aids for 13 hours a day, you are probably going to have to recharge these devices at least once throughout the day if you're going to try to use them like hearing aids regularly. Now, there are going to be some people who say, hey, I'm only going to wear these situationally throughout the day, only when I need them. But if you have a hearing loss, you need to make sure that you're stimulating your hearing consistently. Otherwise, you're giving yourself accelerated rates of cognitive decline and putting yourself at higher risk for dementia later in life. Now, the Pro 3s do fit deeper into your ear canals. I personally like the way that these fit and feel inside of my ears better than the AirPods Pro 2. That being said, the physical fit of the AirPods Pro 3 is still the #1 complaint of individuals with these particular devices. And like I said, I can wear these. I love the way that they feel. I can wear them all day long if I want to, but my wife really can't wear them. Every time she tries to put them inside of her ears, they just fall out. Now, physical fit is extremely important, not just because you want them to stay inside of your ears comfortably, but the physical fit also controls the acoustics of what you get from the AirPods Pro 3. All right, now to activate this hearing aid feature, you need to have an iPhone or an iPad, and you need to have iOS or iPad OS 18.1 or higher. However, once you actually set up this hearing aid feature, you do not technically have to have your iPhone on you at all times. In fact, you could even use this hearing aid feature with an Android phone if you first set it up with an iPhone. You just won't be able to make any adjustments on the fly. If you have no way of getting your hands on an iPhone or an iPad to set up this feature, sorry, you're out of luck. Now you can either enter or upload a professional audiogram into your iPhone, or you can take a hearing test in your iPhone while wearing the AirPods Pro 3. I show you how to do all three of these methods in my tutorial video. Now, one really cool thing about this is that you can apply those hearing test results using the Media Assist feature into all of your streamed audio as well, whether it's music or videos or even phone calls. I personally love this feature because my favorite earbuds to wear when I'm streaming audio are the AirPods Pro 3, hands down. And now that I can customize the audio even better, I love them even more. Now, before I share my personal thoughts and subjective opinions on these as hearing aids, I first want to take you through some of my objective evaluations that I did on this hearing aid feature. To do an objective evaluation of any hearing aid out there, I always like to perform verification measures of the amplification levels using real ear measurement. And I also like to take a look at third-party lab testing data from a company called HearAdvisor. Let me start by showing you the verification measures that I got using real ear measurement. Now, if you're not familiar with real ear measurement yet, essentially it's a way for us to verify that hearing aids are amplifying sound properly by placing probe microphone tubes into your ear canals along with the hearing aids to measure how much amplification you're actually receiving. We can then use this to manipulate hearing aid programming to match your prescriptive targets more precisely to optimize hearing aid performance. We elected to use a flat, mild to moderate level hearing loss that is well within the specified fitting range of the AirPods Pro 3. We then set up my Audiology extern Jenna so we could perform real ear measurement. We measured the initial amplification levels after applying the hearing test results from the iPhone. The solid black line represents the sound that is coming out of the speaker in front of Jenna before it is amplified by the AirPods Pro 3. The purple hash mark line represents the NAL-NL2 prescription of amplification that is required for average level speech for this mild to moderate hearing loss. And the purple solid line represents the amount of amplification Jenna is receiving inside of her ear canals. Ideally, we would want to see the solid line overlap with the hash mark line as closely as possible. This would mean that the AirPods are meeting her prescription. Anywhere it is below the hash mark line, she's being under-amplified, and anywhere it would be above the hash mark line, she would be over-amplified. As you can see, on the initial settings from this hearing test, she is being significantly under-amplified in the mid and high frequency ranges, which would result in poor speech clarity due to a lack of high frequency speech components making it to her ears. So we went into the hearing assistance section of the iPhone and clicked on adjustments so we could see how much better we could adjust the amplification levels to meet the hash mark prescriptive targets. You can see that we were able to hit the prescriptive targets much more closely, but we were still struggling to hit the high frequency targets in both ears. Next, we wanted to see how good the compression was with the AirPods to make sure that loud sounds are not being amplified too much and to ensure that soft sounds are receiving enough amplification to be audible. The red lines indicate how well we were able to amplify for loud speech, which still struggles to hit high frequency prescriptive targets while slightly over amplifying some mid-frequency sounds. And the turquoise lines indicate how well we were able to amplify for soft level speech, which is plagued by the same issues as average and loud level speech in the high frequency ranges, essentially making it more difficult for Jenna to understand speech in a noisy environment as well as understand soft talkers. But I want to be clear, this is far from the worst that I have ever measured. I've measured some really bad hearing aids before. Next, I wanted to measure the ambient noise reduction capabilities of the AirPods Pro 3 while in hearing aid mode. Here we play a pink noise to see if the AirPods can recognize and reduce amplification given to steady state noises without reducing amplification given to speech. To my surprise, we struggled to measure any ambient noise reduction capabilities of the hearing aid feature while in transparency mode. Of course, we could get a ton of noise reduction if we use the noise cancellation mode, but this also prevents you from understanding speech at the same time. So in order to find out what this ambient noise reduction slider was actually doing, I compared measures with this setting set all the way to less, which is indicated by the solid purple line, with this feature set all the way to more, which is indicated by the solid red line. To my surprise, all this feature was doing was reducing the overall volume across the board, which is kind of pointless if you ask me, because if you're trying to get rid of noise but you also get rid of speech at the same time, it kind of defeats the purpose of using these as hearing aids. Lastly, I wanted to see what the conversation boost feature was doing on these. And from what I can tell, by by these real ear measurements, it wasn't doing very much, as the solid green curve, which is with conversation boost on, was very similar to the solid purple curve, which was conversation boost off. Overall, I wasn't too impressed with the objective measures of the AirPods Pro 3 using real ear measurement, especially when it came to the other digital features that these devices are supposed to have. That aside, let's go ahead and take a look at the ratings that HearAdvisor gave the AirPods Pro 3 hearing aids. Now, if you're unfamiliar with HearAdvisor, they're a third-party hearing aid testing lab that scores both over-the-counter and prescription hearing aids on several different performance criteria so we can compare apples to apples. HearAdvisor always uses the N3 standard audiogram for all of the different hearing aids that they evaluate, which is essentially a mild to moderate hearing loss. They tested the Pro 3s on the initial amplification settings after uploading the initial audiogram, but they also tested them on their tune settings, which was them after they adjusted the amplification levels using real ear measurement as well. Here's what they found. Starting with the initial amplification settings, the AirPods Pro 3 were nowhere even close to the prescriptive target levels. And honestly, it wasn't much better on the tune settings following real ear measurement, showing the limited customization capabilities of the Pro 3s as well. As far as how they performed, their initial score was a 3.1, in large part due to their ability to resist feedback and their good music streaming sound quality, which helped their score out a lot. However, they performed horribly in speech and quiet, speech and noise, and the sound of your own voice. The tune score was higher at a 4.4 thanks to the improvements in speech and quiet and speech and noise performance. However, even after tuning with real ear measurement, the AirPods Pro 3 still rank in the bottom 40% of all hearing aids tested by HearAdvisor. And considering the fact that virtually nobody who uses the AirPods Pro 3 as over-the-counter hearing aids are going to actually take them into a hearing care professional and pay them to perform real ear measurement, performance of the AirPods Pro 3 as hearing aids is going to be abysmal for most users. And this is exactly what I experienced using the AirPods Pro 3 as hearing aids in the real world, finding them to be virtually unusable in a noisy environment while giving me a significant amount of occlusion, which made my own voice sound really loud and horrible. And no matter how much I played with them in the adjustment section of my iPhone, nothing I did really helped my performance. Honestly, it's exactly like you would pretty much expect from an over-the-counter hearing aid that only costs you $250. But I still love them as wireless earbuds. They are substantially better than the AirPods Pro 2, especially when it comes to active noise cancellation. I even prefer to use these over my Galaxy Buds Pro 3, and I happen to be primarily a Samsung phone user. At the end of the day, if the only type of hearing aid that you can afford is the AirPods Pro 3, by all means, go ahead and get yourself a pair. And if you're able to scrounge up another couple $100, take them into a hearing care professional who follows comprehensive audiologic best practices so they can tune them better for you using real ear measurement. And the easiest way to find one of these hearing care professionals is to go to my website, hearingup.com, and finding a Hearing Up Network member in your area. Hearing Up members are going to be more than happy to help you with your AirPods Pro 3 setting up the hearing aid feature. Now, hear me when I say, if you continue to struggle hearing while using the AirPods Pro 3, it is a clear sign that you are not going to be able to use an over-the-counter hearing aid, and you're going to have to upgrade to a prescription hearing aid model if you actually want to hear better.